And that's why I said I wanted to consolidate it, just just to shorten it.
If I can, I want time before then. The reason I wanted to zero in on this, I had 7. It wasn't brand new trucks. They was like 2 years old, 200-something thousand miles on them. These 90-something $1,000 trucks, $45,000 trailers. These big, beautiful Peterbilts stayed in the shop more than any of the older trucks. All right, with running less. So, what was he showing y'all about picking y'all up and taking y'all through without touching? I've been there, so that's why I'm trying to tell y'all, don't go out there and buy no big. If anything, get an older truck, get it straightened out, and then paint it so it look nice and clean if that's what you want. Don't go out there and buy it. Matter of fact, these newer trucks is 200-something grand now.
Yeah.
It's and it's gonna take you straight in the shop just because it's new, and those warranties are made to be loopholed through. Meaning, even if it's under warranty, if you bring it in, if they can find a way to wiggle out of it, they will. So understand that before y'all go out here and get the big shiny red truck and put your name on the side of it, that just because it's newer, it may be costing you more money than an older truck that's more reliable.
Well, I like how he keep referring to the options and like May. One thing y'all need to understand that it ain't if, it's when. You're gonna go through it, and also it ain't May. Like, they are running the rack on us, and they're finding different ways to set up. Especially and COVID took it to a whole nother level. The prices of the trucks at one point in time, the trucks that I was purchasing these trucks at 20 and 30,000. Low end 18,000. You getting a little, Facebook market, you can probably find something at a reasonable price, but everything is 80,000 and 160,000, like these crazy numbers. You know what I mean? So I really don't agree with it. And the way a lot of these trucking gurus is selling everybody, they upselling everybody to this glorified way of doing things, and then they have this background scenery where they have this luxurious lifestyle. And then it draws people in to say that, okay, I can go get a truck, and then I can go get another truck, and then I can sit back and I ain't got to do nothing. That's far from the truth. I've been in the trucking industry for over 17 years. And throughout the whole course of this time that I've been in, even with the assistance that I have now, I've been day in and day out grinding.
If you like sleeping, don't become no fleet owner. You on call 24 hours a day. You cannot tell somebody you can't get their tire fixed because you had graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to tell you, y'all know how many people done took their life out of this industry?
Mm-hmm.
I personally know about 3. I know of about 5.
Mm-hmm.
This shit ain't no walk in the park. And I'll talk when I get into it, that maintenance piece, that's what the crumble you if you ain't on top of it. I'm gonna get into that when it's my time.
Well, that's another good valid point. If you put yourself in a space where I think the problem is everybody jump and they say that they can get these trucks, but they don't do the due diligence and the homework in the beginning. Everybody say they are, but they really not. And then you go get these trucks, and you're not realizing that the bottom line, this gross number, is not the number that you're bringing home, and it's not what you're making; it's what you keep. You know what I mean? Like, what are you actually keeping after all of this is said and done? And a lot of times, to be honest, people don't like to admit it. You're actually in the red when you're done. 9 times out of 10, you're actually running backwards. And sometimes you be so deep in the fight, you don't even realize like what's going on, and you done actually went out of business and don't even know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it take a lot. I just feel like, depending on what your circumstances is and your living conditions, I think that it's best to have your overhead as low as possible. that's one of the key things. And another point, like I said, I was gonna, I'm trying to shorten it, but that's where I was getting to when I mentioned the yard. The reason why I brought up the yard, and I was kind of about to become a little more animate about that, that was one of my keys to sustaining what was going on. And a lot of people don't realize in business in general, typically you want to be able to, if you're running a business out of a facility or on a lot or whatever, that you're actually reaching out to someone that you're leasing from, you want to find a way to be able to take ownership of that, because it's so much smarter, so much easier and more convenient to be able to run your company out of the facility, the lot, the place that you actually own. You know what I mean? Because not only is it working towards whatever your legacy is or whatever that you contributing it to, you also can put yourself in position to sustain and weather the storm, depending on what's going on. You know what I mean? And that was super vital to me. Even though the payments was a little tough in the beginning, all of that stuff is negotiable. You know what I mean? Everything is negotiable, and you can pull rabbits out of a hat. You just got to be able to sit down and think, put your stuff together, depending on what your circumstances is. A lot of people are grabbing these trucks, renting them, or they're buying them. They're spending all this upfront money, thinking that they're going to go to the load board or thinking that they're going to get some magical load that's going to pay this top dollar amount consistently every day. And it's so many ups and downs and hurdles that you can't predict that. You need to be in position to say, okay, this is what's taking place. This is the work that I've actually acquired. This is what I actually was able to work out a good deal with. I have a layout agreement, and these are the new trucks, or these are the trucks that I'm now going to get to help sustain or help complement this account that I have. People going the opposite way. They grabbing the trucks, and then they saying like, oh, I'm gonna go do this regular work, and the work ain't enough money. You're not making enough money to sustain what you actually purchased. So people are going out of business faster than they actually even trying to get going. And then you look up Ritchie Brothers, the amount of trucks that's up there is ridiculous.
I was working at the counter up there on the maintenance, changing all their batteries and stuff, getting ready for auction. This is the biggest auction they've ever had in history.
Yeah, the June 14th one, right? I'm just looking on right now.
Yeah, so there's more people going out of business right now than ever, which is a good thing if you know how to maneuver, because that means that the price of equipment is cheaper. So just like when the stock market crashed, the beginners get scared and sell, and then the guys, the big dogs, they wait until they hit bottom, and then they come on and swoop up everything at rock bottom prices.
And then you also got to be in the financial space
to do it.
And the way the trucking economy is right now, there are still people making money. There's still money being made. But the whole industry is suffering right now compared to what it used to be. Now, when I say used to be, don't get it twisted. The load board and the work was always still kind of at a level ground. You needed to go out there and put in work to actually get the right accounts to be able to say, okay, I can make better sense of the numbers. But it always been where you kind of getting that bottom line. You're not getting the expenses to cover your, whatever your round trips are. And some people always blew that up to be like, oh, I'm getting this, I'm getting that. And that's when it kind of, if you've been around, you can kind of tell. If somebody is giving you all of the information to a degree where this is the exact routes that they're getting to, depending on who they are, because everybody ain't as organic as my brother right here. You know what I mean? They are kind of just straying it and stringing you along. It's not typically a lot of people that's getting to that bag that's going to actually share to you their gold mine, because they know how tough it is. Maintenance wise, maintenance is probably, I want to say about 70-80%, because you got tolls as well. So some people run in Midwest and West Coast, so they kind of avoid a lot of the tolls. Us on this side, Northeast region, you're going to get burned up. You know what I mean, with them tolls. I got countless stories with that when it comes to tolls, and far as trying to be able to stay ahead of it, and the accounts going in the negative. The maintenance, when you're dealing with maintenance, I'm going to give you an example real quick.
Let me chime in for a second. I deal with thousands of people with trucking. I humbly say that over 3,000. We're approaching 4,000. Joe is what I call a top dog. I categorize the people who call me from all over the country. This thing ain't just about Baltimore. I teach y'all here because I'm from here. This is my way of giving back. When you talk about going into negative, you talking about companies with toll accounts that gotta keep a daily balance of 50,000. And then they taking your money out automatically. So we ain't talking about $100 lost. Also, he's one of the individuals when he talk about talking to people and being able to see through the clouds. Just because you see these guys out here running around with trucks and cars and all this shit, you know, these fugazi diamonds everybody running around with. Don't get caught up in the smoke and mirrors. Because if you can show that you got income coming in, you can finance and purchase just about anything. Mm-hmm. What you keeping is what matters. The reason why I brought him here is because he's one of the individuals who have been able to maneuver through all of this stuff. Like you see the Muhammad Ali fight when the dude swinging at him and he on the ropes like this. Yeah. That's my man right here, and I respect, you know, his maneuverability. Because a lot of these guys are gonna get kicked out the game, and a lot of y'all coming in is gonna jump out there and get to going. And you making money, you know, you're making 5,000, 8,000 a week, and you're like, man, yeah, that's good. I'm gonna go get me another truck. Shit, 5 would do actually. Then before you know it, you're out the game. But now you talking about, man, trucking ain't no money in trucking. Nah, you move too fast. You ain't play it right, and you was listening to people that was telling you half of the story. So, but I'm gonna get into what he said, 70-80%. That's what's gonna save you, and also being connected to people like this. And you know, he talked about lanes. You know, it may be a time where y'all start getting trucks, and it's not quite working out with the load board. You may have to go to somebody for loads. Mm-hmm. So that's why you need to be in rooms like this so you can meet people and not be starting off at the bottom of the game. See what I'm saying? So.
Mm-hmm. And then also to piggyback on what he's saying, it's very important to do the theoretical part. A lot of people try to skip the theoretical part. Do the paperwork, do the reading, then become hands-on, then go get involved. Get all of that information. I mean, there's tons of information out here. As my good brother was just now trying to, you know, show us here, pretty much like it's a lot of information, and people don't do the due diligence. They don't do the homework. They don't do it, and then they go out there and they jump out, and they assume that they're gonna. Even right now with him saying that you will be earning or you will be making $5,000. A lot of people take that $5,000 and they go run around and go start doing whatever they want to do, and not realizing that money is not your money. That's not your money. By the time you break down that number, if you really detail oriented about what you're doing and looking at your stats, you're using spreadsheets and you breaking down your numbers, paying things quarterly, by the time you're done with that, you probably only got $800, $1,300.
If you not now you talking not to speak what you're saying because you're 100% right. Mm-hmm. Now you hearing it from two different mindsets. He's a fleet owner. You talking not driving. Driving is where you're gonna make the bulk of your money with your authority. Mm-hmm. Not driving, those numbers dwindle down very quickly. So you have to be doing it at a mass level of units in order to make sense out of it.
Let me reframe it a little bit. So
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, because it's a two-way thing here. He's absolutely right. When you get to the point where you decide to step out the truck, it's going to take at least 5 to 6 trucks to do what the average one person that's putting in the work. It pretty much would take 5 to 6 people to do what one person could do. But if you're running off the load board, you don't have no good negotiation skills, you don't know what you're really doing, you're not going to average the numbers you need to average to be able to say, okay, I grossed 5,000 and I'm keeping 3,000. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have the skills, the know-how to be able to do that. If you don't, you're going to be sitting, you're going to pretty much have 5,000 coming in, and then it's going to look on the back end by the time you're done breaking all of your numbers down, because with having the know-how, you know how to maneuver your numbers. You know how to make better sense of the dollar. and you know what you can push off. What can you, like for instance, with me, I have different shop accounts. I have different store accounts. So the average person would be going and say if they got that $5,000, they're going to be turning around and anything that they need to, parts or anything that's going wrong, they're going to be paying that up front. If they get a breakdown, they're going to be paying that up front. In my situation, I have mechanics that can go out to the scene to go actually assess the problem, or I can go in and grab the phone and use my account with one of the repair shops that I have, and then they'll go and turn around and they'll shoot out there and go get it. Now, I'm gonna get stung with probably an extra $200 to $400 on that bill, but it's gonna take me probably 90 days to pay it.
What's the most you ever spent on fuel in a week?
In a week, I'm gonna say about 23,000.
Just to give y'all perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, but and let alone that ain't no cut card. That ain't like, oh, I spent 23,000, but we get into the bag. Like, no, I'm spending this money constantly to stay afloat. The money that I'm kicking out, whether it's tolls, fuel, maintenance, I'm kicking this money out to keep the lights on, to keep the roof up, to keep the roof up, and to be able to have my drivers be able to still come to work. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask a question. Even though you have all that, what motivates you to keep going with the fleet and stuff? Even though you have like some of these.
My why, my family. I think and the most important outside of that is I'm in too deep.
I gotta chime in because I'm steering this in a certain direction. Don't get it twisted. There's money in trucking. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is don't buy the bullshit that's being sold to you. You have to be prepared for this because it will come. Your maintenance, your fuel, your tools, your insurance is going to come. So don't let people just tell you the good side and then you get out there and then you like, hey man, you ain't tell me this. And now when you're struggling, you like, well, you got hit with the blind side. We bringing the issues to the forefront.
Yes.
He doing it because he making a living. Do he look like he's struggling? No, I'm just saying. So there's money in trucking. That's why motherfuckers doing this shit.
See, I think the way
I don't want y'all blindsided. While he talking.
That's why I said it's an extensive story, right? But I'm consolidating to the best of my ability. But what I'm doing is I'm touching points. But I was gonna, in the end, I'm clear.